Face horror beyond your wildest screams. You won't stand a chance. Universal's Halloween Horror Nights.
Stay alive beim Halloween Horror Festival im Moviepark Germany.
Horror events at theme parks have surged in popularity over the past few decades. From Universal Studios' Halloween Horror Nights to Six Flags Fright Fest, these events seem to attract larger and larger crowds every year. These days, Universal even refers to Halloween Horror Nights as their 13th month, meaning the event itself is responsible for as much revenue as the entire resort makes most months. Now, Halloween events at theme parks aren't a particularly new phenomenon, but typically these were isolated to the weeks around the end of October. Yet these days, it's not surprising for a Halloween event to begin in September or even August. And with this huge rise in popularity of these events, I wanted to explore the cultural, psychological, and economic factors driving this trend, hoping to shed light on how theme parks effectively use the Halloween season to boost their revenues. Fear has long been the focus of much entertainment. Horror has been a significant genre in literature and film, evolving from early Gothic novels to classic horror films in the 20th century. Just like if we were to explore the history of these two things, we can trace theme park horror events back to multiple moments in history. In London, in the mid to late 1800s, Marie Tussauds Chamber of Horrors opened up, which showcased wax recreations of historic torture scenes. Then, the first recorded haunted attraction was the Orton and Spooner Ghost House, which opened in 1915 in the United Kingdom as part of an Edwardian fair. This was a dimly lit funhouse, where floors shook and demonic screams roared from phonographs. At this same time, the Grand Guignol in Paris became famous for scaring audiences with its gruesome onstage depictions of dismemberment. Add these two things together and you pretty much get a modern haunted house. Therefore, it's not surprising that it only took just over a decade from this point for the first haunted house to pop up. Halloween-themed haunted houses first emerged during the Great Depression, alongside trick-or-treating. American parents invented them as a way to distract young tricksters, whose holiday tricks had escalated to property damage, vandalism, and harassment of strangers. These houses were small-scale, DIY style, and usually only showcased to family and friends. At the same time, the first proper ghost train ride was designed and opened across the pond in the UK in 1930 at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. From here, ghost trains and haunted walkthroughs without live actors became a staple for amusement parks, eventually being perfected, at least in my opinion, by Disneyland's Haunted Mansion in 1969. Live actor haunted houses did not develop quite so rapidly, and remained isolated to small-scale community events for quite a while. Haunted houses first really began to spread across America via charity fundraisers conducted throughout the 50s and 60s. Then, in the 1970s, evangelical Christians made their own anti-Halloween attractions. These were called hell houses and were meant to showcase the consequences of sin. In the typical manner of Christian representations of hell, these produced some of the scariest horror walkthrough scenes. All of this very much laid the groundwork for the larger-scale horror events at amusement parks. In California, Knott's Berry Farm began hosting its own Halloween night event in 1973, becoming one of the first theme parks to host a Halloween event. Sadly, in 1984, a tragic fire at Six Flags Great Adventure's Haunted Castle, a walk-through dark ride, led to increased regulations nationwide. With this, charity haunted houses became less economically viable due to the new fire safety equipment required. This left a large gap in the Halloween industry, leaving room for the better-funded theme park industry to take over the horror walkthrough. After testing various Halloween-based seasonal events throughout the 1970s to mid-1980s, just 2 years after the fire, Six Flags launched Fright Fest in 1986 at their Astroworld Park in Texas. In 1987, this event began to expand to Six Flags' other locations, and it's now become a staple of all the company's parks. Although now the biggest Halloween event around, Universal Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights did not begin until a year after the park opened in 1991, when it was titled Fright Nights. The event was renamed in 1992 and advertised as the second annual Halloween Horror Nights, an annual event which has not stopped since. Universal Studios Hollywood had first featured an event titled Halloween Horror Nights in 1986, which was a haunted tram tour. But sadly, due to the accidental death of a retail employee, this event did not occur again. But following the success of the event in Orlando, Halloween Horror Nights was relaunched in Hollywood in 1992, and has likewise not stopped since. Having begun in 1973, Not Scary Farm transformed into a multi-week event in the 90s in order to compete with this new event nearby. The loss of small-scale, more localized haunts due to new safety restrictions was not the only reason for this surge in theme park Halloween events during the 1990s. Thanks to the boom of slasher films throughout the 1980s, horror had really established itself as a big money earner by the 1990s. Plus, Halloween had also surged as a cultural event within America, something which has only continued today, as it's estimated that the total Halloween spending in the United States is currently up 36% from just 5 years ago. It's widely believed that the growing popularity of Halloween is because of the growing popularity of horror movies. With the boom in horror films came a boom in horror fans. Plus, many horror films utilised Halloween as the perfect setting for their horrors. I think it's pretty fair to say that John Carpenter's 1979 film Halloween did not only aid in the boom of horror films, but also in the boom of Halloween as a holiday in general. As far as theme park events go, Halloween Horror Nights was a game changer in many ways. By leveraging its extensive library of horror films, Universal Studios was able to create haunted houses and scare zones that were not only terrifying but also familiar to fans of the genre. This familiarity added an extra layer of excitement, as guests could walk through scenes from their favourite horror films and come face to face with iconic characters like Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. In more recent years, IP has become even more important to the growth of Halloween theme park events. Universal's partnership with The Walking Dead and Stranger Things are seen as two pivotal points in the astronomical growth of Halloween Horror Nights in the 2010s. I've actually made an entire video dedicated to this, so if you want more information on just how this worked, please check out that video after this one is finished. But to put it simply, for the parks, partnering with a popular franchise provides instant name recognition and a built-in fanbase that is eager to experience their favourite stories in a new way. The success of Halloween Horror Nights using IPs has not gone unnoticed by other theme parks. Just look at Six Flags, who this year has spent more on IP than ever before. It's no surprise that theme parks are willing to spend pretty big on obtaining IP to grow their Halloween events. Horror events offer theme parks a way to increase revenue during traditionally slower months. By extending the season into fall and capitalizing on the Halloween craze, parks can attract visitors who might not otherwise attend. This seasonal boost is particularly crucial for parks with fixed operating costs, as it helps maintain profitability throughout the year. In fact, parks often report that horror events significantly contribute to their annual revenue, making them an essential part of their business model. But beyond just the popularity of horror and Halloween, there are other reasons for the popularity of these events. The most basic way to understand why horror events are so popular is that psychologically, fear can be pleasurable. The concept of benign masochism suggests that people enjoy fear-inducing experiences in safe environments. Theme parks capitalize on this idea, providing controlled spaces where guests can confront their fears without any real danger. The adrenaline rush associated with fear then leads to heightened enjoyment. For many people, horror events are a way to confront their fears and see how much they can handle. The adrenaline rush that comes from surviving a particularly scary haunted house or making it through a terrifying scare zone can be incredibly satisfying, leaving guests with a sense of accomplishment and a desire to return for more. Additionally, fear has a unique way of bringing people together. Shared experiences of fear can strengthen bonds between friends and family, making horror events not just a solitary thrill but a communal experience that enhances social connections. Whether it's laughing together after a particularly intense scare or holding hands for comfort as you navigate a dark maze, horror events offer a unique opportunity for social bonding. The rise of social media has also contributed to the popularity of Halloween events. Social media has given rise to a new form of horror event, the Instagrammable experience. Parks are increasingly designing certain areas of their events with social media in mind, creating visually striking scenes and themed food that are perfect for sharing online. Whether it's a photo with a blood-soaked actor, or a video of you trying the latest wacky food creation, these moments are designed to be shared. helping to spread the word about the event and attract new visitors, or to make a specific food item or piece of merchandise trendy and increase revenue in that way. This online buzz not only attracts new visitors, but also helps to strengthen the community around these events. Social media buzz surrounding Halloween events in the USA has spread around the world, and thanks to this, theme parks have played a major role in globalizing Halloween as a holiday. Halloween events are now far from isolated to parks in the USA. Most theme parks in Europe have their own Halloween events, and Asia has seen the recent addition of Halloween Horror Nights to its Universal parks, showing us that there is now a very much global audience for the Halloween event. Something which did start as a very much American thing, although I'm sure if I were to research it further, I'd find many interesting points of history that suggest where the Halloween event has grown from in different cultures. But it is certainly a very Americanized version of the holiday that is popular within the theme park industry, and much of this is thanks to Hollywood. Hollywood has inspired the haunted house industry for most of its history. As horror became more extreme on screen, people began demanding more from their haunted house experiences as well. Therefore, many haunted houses have upped the ante, with more hands-on experiences, horror-themed escape rooms, and more. Plus, as horror events have more than established themselves, permanent year-round haunted houses have also become quite the norm. Even Halloween Horror Nights are opening up a permanent horror experience in Las Vegas. Horror, and with that, horror experiences are today more popular than ever before. Evidently, the rising popularity of horror events at theme parks can be attributed to a mixture of cultural shift, psychological factors, and economic strategies. As audiences continue to seek thrilling and immersive experiences, parks will likely adapt and innovate, ensuring that horror remains a captivating and integral part of the theme park industry. The future of horror events at theme parks certainly looks bright, with endless possibilities for engaging storytelling and immersive experiences. Whether, like me, you're a die-hard horror fan or just looking for a fun night out, these events promise unforgettable encounters that tap into our deepest fears and emotions. Thank you so much for watching. Which theme park Halloween event do you make sure to visit every year? Let me know in the comments. Also, please like, subscribe, and check out some of my other videos in the links in the description.